Regular stuff. We're end. This is amazing. Look at...
This is the craziest thing we've ever done.
Sounds very interesting. Tell me more.
The new season is underway.
Let's build 10 life-size, drivable, Lego-built Formula One cars.
Simple, right?
Are they going to be up for this, do you think?
Oh, 100%.
I don't think you can plan for a job like this, honestly.
No, I have no idea. No, I have no idea how they're going to do this.
If it seems impossible, we'll make it possible.
Now we
How they're going to do this.
If it seems impossible, we'll make it possible.
Now we apply the power, we climb the hill.
It's Hauger and you're watching Drafting the Circuits.
What were you watching just then, by the way?
It's Hauger and you're watching Drafting the Circuits.
What were you watching just then, by the way? The start,
I was wondering how Lando got into P3, so I was just looking.
I mean, we could discuss that, but you probably don't want to get...
Such a long race. God. It's just like, it's crazy this race is like half an hour longer than some others, but...
Would that mean because obviously drivers is a long stretch?
No, I mean, that's the goal for us at the moment. You know, the team are working so hard. We know McLaren have a dominant team, but we've, on average, had, the second best car, sort of, along with Max, and we need to try and seal that P2. So, pleased. Kimi, was he fifth?
Kimi, yes.
Yeah, fifth.
Yeah.
So pleased, he got some good points as well, and it's just what we needed.
Are you quicker than the Red Bull, do you think, going forward?
I think it's very tight, to be honest. I think this was a bit of a unique race weekend. They've obviously been the dominant one recently, but I think McLaren, again, were probably the quickest car. Like, for Lando to stay that close for that long shows quite a lot.
Thank you.
Welcome to Formula One.
Good evening, London!
This is the class of F175. Formula One in 2025 begins.
That was the most fun drive parade we've ever had.
Santarowski, but your host for the next hour as we go over this past weekend. Release is October 14th. So if you're a big gamer, that date's right around the corner. Sinister One Productions.
It was our first podcast that aired last week. It was actually pretty good. It's a learning curve. We have some things that we need to work out. I think par to be expected, but we're getting there. It's coming around. We just will be coming out. We're going to do every Thursday night at 7:00. That's when we're airing our episodes. So tune in on Thursdays at 7, and we'll be on the chat live with y'all to talk about all things rodeo and some things other, not rodeo. So
now, not rodeo.
Is there like a season in rodeo or PBR? Is there like a championship, or is it just a...
No, so there, the PBR has several series, kind of like NASCAR. We have the, Xfinity series, then we have, the junior leagues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. PBR has the same thing. They're in a season right now. They're getting ready to end on the 24th of October in Las Vegas. That's called PBR Teams. So there's bull riders that represent different areas of the country. There's 5 riders on a team, and they compete as a team against the other team from another area.
That's cool.
Yeah. So here's an odd question, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in the junior leagues, right?
Yep.
Do they use smaller bulls?
Not smaller, but I want to say they use bulls that don't have as much experience.
Okay. Less aggressive.
Yeah, less aggressive. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So thank you, Lee.
And
I'll be sure to tune in on.
Yeah.
So you broadcasting tomorrow night then, huh?
Yep, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Z-Man and I will be on there.
Do you sleep in that hat?
Actually, I don't. Not this particular one. I have a white
you've got
one that I sleep in. It's
Careful.
it's just a little bit more comfortable, so it keeps my hair in place. So.
All right.
Oh, you're getting a lot of trouble right now. Moving on.
Lee, best of luck. Best of luck with
Thanks,
the podcast. Yeah,
Yep.
I know you're in good hands in the Sinister One Productions family.
Yeah.
So good luck to you.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's get into the racing topics, because I know that's what you folks tuned in to see, but little rodeo talk never hurt anybody. So Richard, we're down in Singapore for our night race
Yep.
that airs in the United States at a really obscene time.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, no, that's not the one I was thinking of then. It's the Vegas one that was in the middle of the
The
damn
Vegas
night.
one in the East Coast is at like 10
Is it
o'clock.
like- Yeah.
Or 11 o'clock, I think. Yeah. That's a struggle.
So McLaren Clinches Manufacturers Championship, no surprise there. Winner's Circle, George Russell taking his second victory of the scene. So, Richard, you want to take us through Singapore a little bit?
Yeah, it's the Singapore sauna for these drivers. And the first time the FAA declared a hot weather race, which is a combination of the ambient temperature and the relative humidity. The drivers can lose a serious amount of weight during these races. So they were allowed to run a cool suit or a cool vest, which we see quite often in some other racing series. Even if the driver didn't want to run it, the team had to install the equipment so there wasn't a weight penalty. So the drivers weren't tempted to run without and potentially make themselves unwell. We've seen drivers collapse out of cars. Qatar's another race where we often see these sort of issues. But looking back 12 months, this was really the breakthrough race, I think, for McLaren, where everybody suddenly went, wow, they've got some real pace, because I think they won the race by about 30 seconds last year over Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, and people started to be, okay, they've got something serious here. And 12 months on, it was almost the exact opposite. A team that was dominated all year really struggled again. We've seen that a couple of times recently. And they clinched the Drivers' Championship, not without a little bit of controversy between the two teammates. We saw Lando Norris get into the back of Max Verstappen on the start, which pushed him into Oscar Piastri. And I mean, Oscar was okay. He kept his line. He didn't go in the wall or anything. He lost a spot, but a
little minor damage to the wing plate, but it didn't seem.
I think it was actually
Lando
Lando
speed at all.
Norris had more damage, I think, than Oscar did on his car. But I mean, George Russell commanded the race. Justification or revenge, if you like, from the. He's never had the best of luck in Singapore. He's hit the wall a few too many times for his own liking. But no, he drove a fantastic race, dominated the race out there. But all the talk post-race was of the disagreement between teammates, if you like. While McLaren were off celebrating their World Championship, the images appeared to show Oscar sort of sulking in the background. Now, whether that's, you can take a lot of editing of media and all that sort of stuff into play there. But I think fundamentally what we see with McLaren here is, they've always said our drivers are free to race, and they have this papaya rules code of conduct for engagement in battle, if you like. And it's supposed to be very, very fair and even between the drivers. And as we saw in Monza, where Lando had a pit issue after allowing Oscar to pit before him, we saw a situation where they made the drivers, swap positions again, which I don't think went down particularly well with Oscar, but he towed the line. And because they've tried to make this sort of utopian, nice, fuzzy, warm, soft environment for them all to race in, as soon as you see something like this, when there's a championship on the line and there's a little bit of wheel banging, all hell breaks loose. I don't think what Lando did was particularly bad. I think you see far worse.
Really tight quarters.
It was a tap.
Yeah.
It was a tap.
Yeah.
There was. I understand Oscar's standpoint. because he's trying to play by the rules that they define within their team. And in his eyes, rightly or wrongly, Lando has broken those rules. And he should, he pushed his teammate out of the way to gain a spot. And under the rules that McLaren has set out, Lando should have let Oscar back through. I think that's a very opportunistic approach to the rules.
Yeah.
I think that I think almost with the way that McLaren have been this, holier than thou way of conducting themselves for the last 18 months since they've had a really competitive car, is probably going to, it's starting to come back and bite them a little bit. It's bound to happen, especially when there's a championship on the line, and it's happened in the most innocuous way possible. You go back to some of the driver clashes we've seen between teammates in the past in recent memory. The Ricciardo and Verstappen incident in Azerbaijan a few years ago, the Vettel and Webber incident in Turkey, again Red Bull teammates, the Hamilton and Rosberg in Barcelona. Good grief, these guys just tapped wheels. It's like, it's nothing. It really isn't. And I think that, Oscar was using it as an opportunity to try and make a point and trying to leverage himself within the team. And I said the team have created this situation. They've been a victim of their own success in a way, if you like.
Yeah, it's interesting how this season kind of mirrors last, where, last year no one could catch Max, the dominant car, the bulk of the season. But then later in the season, McLaren came on strong, started winning all the races, but Max was still able to hang on to the championship. And like you said, we're seeing the same thing now. It's been three Grand Prix since we had a McLaren on the top step of the podium after them winning 12 races leading up to this. So also reminds me of 2009 a little bit, where Button was just absolutely unbeatable in the early part of the season. And then everyone else caught up to them, but he had enough of a lead. He was able to hang on for the championship by a close margin. So, so it definitely makes it interesting, that we don't have somebody take the whole season and run away with the whole thing like we've seen with in the past with both Lewis and Max. So, I welcome a little competition there to see kind of Max getting up in there, getting a little closer to them, making them guys a little nervous. But I still think at the end of the day, one of the McLaren guys is going to walk away with the driver's title. So probably Piastri. So, Jessica, any input on Formula One in Singapore?
Absolutely none.
Okay. All right, Lee.
Right.
Oh yeah, I thought George Russell's interview after the race was probably a top 5 interview, just because he was having a battle with a piece of his own hair in his mouth.
That's not something you have to worry about, Lee.
No, not me. No. But it was funny.
Anyway.
Like it was. I mean, it was a great interview. He was being interviewed. He kind of kept seeing him messing with his mouth. And I was like, "Is he all right?" And then and without skipping a beat, he says, arguing with this piece of hair in my mouth," and just kept rolling. And I was like, "Gotta love George Russell. Like, that's just fantastic." I thought it was great.
Oh man,
I did get a good chuckle out of that one. So
all right, so we've got a week off, and then Formula One's back in the United States at COTA in Austin, Texas. Now Apple TV rather is been working on acquiring the rights to broadcast Formula One in the United States, which much to the chagrin of the people that really enjoy the ESPN coverage, who don't want to go ahead and get an Apple TV account. But Apple's looking to make that announcement on the weekend of COTA. So hopefully,
it'll be the same thing when it'll be the Sky TV.
It's still going to be the European feed.
I don't think that there's anything.
For me, I just think that ESPN is available in a heck of a lot more households than Apple TV.
True.
And I think it's going to kind of hurt them rating wise, but I'm sure whatever Apple is paying Formula One It's going to be
worth
worth Formula One's deal to do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, and you
so.
know, obviously they got the tie-in with the movie being an Apple TV movie, which I did see for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I watched it on the flight out to Phoenix.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No, it's the first time I watched it. It was okay. It was the bit towards the end was all right, but the bit at the start was a bit crap, where he came back in and he was manipulating all the races. It's like, yeah, that's not going to stand. Yeah. How do you get a super license, by the way? If bloody Colton Herder can't get a super license, but a 56-year-old Brad Pitt can get a super license.
He hasn't driven an F1 car in 30 years, yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess a Daytona 24 victory gives you a super license, huh?
Oh, but it was a GT3 class, not an LMP class. So, but the one thing was really interesting. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when they were doing all the at-race filming. The Vegas race, I think it was the Vegas race, they filmed the scene where he had a big wreck, which is in the movie. But then they also filmed him like getting out of the car and collapsing. And everybody said how unrealistic that was. But that wasn't in the movie.
You're right.
Yeah, see,
That's interesting.
There's a lot of things that get filmed that end up on the cutting room floor. Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah, but I remember that being made a big deal
I was
wondering
if the reason it got taken out of was because it was so publicly unveiled, and people like poo-pooed it and go, "That's a bit crap." You know, like, no, that wouldn't really happen. And like, ooh, we're not put that in.
That's probably exactly why it was taken out. Although we have seen that happen in real life. See that?
And also, they were making a huge.
PK was Nigel Mansell.
Yeah.
Out of the car and collapse.
But they were making this huge thing about all the cameos from the drivers and the team principals and stuff like that. And it was like, I was really struggling to. There wasn't anything. No.
Yeah.
It's like.
I think Lewis was the only one that spoke.
Yeah.
And it wasn't but more than a sentence.
Yeah.
And then the team principals in there. I thought Gunter was great when he was like,
well, of course.
That really happened. I was testing Barcelona one year, and back then you had analog radios rather than the new digital radios, and every team could listen to every other team's radio.
Yeah.
So you are old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a little, this vinyl record we used to put on the player to listen to music in the garage. Yeah. But one of our engineers came on the radio and said, I can't remember what he said, but it was some trick part that we were testing. And we're like, oh, don't mention that. And you look down and all the other mechanics or all the other engineers were like leaning off the pit wall stand, looking down at our car. We're like, oh, crap. So that was pretty realistic. That was pretty realistic.
Here's another bit of news that kind of straddles the Formula One and INDYCAR. That is that Alex Palou McLaren trial is going on live in England right now. The bulk of Palou's argument is that Zach Brown enticed him into the deal with the promise of a Formula One seat, and that was never going to happen. Yeah. And Zach Brown denying that he ever promised him a Formula One seat. McLaren initially wanted $30 million from Palou. I think they're down to $20 million, but it's the case is live in the courts. So, and speaking of courtroom drama, we're getting into NASCAR, so we might as well go ahead and get us out of the way. That a judge has just granted a settlement hearing between NASCAR and 23XI with a separate mediator, and this mediator has worked with both NASCAR with both Front Row and 23XI before, and they're very comfortable with that. So this may be the end of this. This may be this coming to resolution. I think that settlement date is set for either October 12th or October 21st, something like that.
Yeah, it's not in the two. I was looking into this and a little bit, and there's also NASCAR have also got statements from a number of team principals or team owners or whatever in recent days and weeks, and now with this move of NASCAR, God, they're desperate for this not to go public, aren't they? It
That's
really
what I was just
smacks
thinking.
of, they don't want this to go to trial.
Yeah, it's
They're
all going to
doing
be
everything
kept
they
under
can.
wraps. Yeah, and
they're doing everything they can.
After
Because
all
it's-
of this, lead up and everything, and all of the drama
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the text messages and all of that stuff, like, that the settlement is all going to be kept under wraps, and we're never really going to know the end of the story.
I mean, fundamentally, it just depends how far MJ wants to go with it. If he genuinely, because he's got more money than NASCAR probably as an entity.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, putting a hostile takeover of NASCAR, he probably could. I don't know the exact legalities of it all, but he could, really screw them over. And I think that they're starting to realize that, and they're getting a little scared. They're, look, Roger Penske, Rick Hendrick, Richard Childress, write a nice letter to the judge saying how great we are and how, they had to sign and the charter system is really fair and let's get this mediation involved. And it's all a little, smacks of desperation, in my opinion anyway. I don't know if there's any truth in that, but they're not doing it hey, let's give 2311 and Front Row a chance. Let's mediate on this. If they thought they had a watertight case.
Yeah. I think that if this NASCAR never wanted to go to trial with this, and I said it from the beginning. Any lawsuit like this, the goal is not to go to trial. You don't want to go to trial, because once they go to trial and you start having to disclose things in trial, you open up a can of worms that NASCAR knows that they cannot get out of, because it's going to open up the books not just to NASCAR, but to all the other teams that are involved in the charter system, because the court's going to say, okay, well, we want to see the financials not just from 2311, but we want to see the financials from Hendrick, Penske, JGR, all of the teams. And those are
Rick Ware.
Yeah, like those,
Yeah, he'd probably be the most nervous on that one, I think.
I don't want to say there's backdoor deals going on, because there's not, but opening your books to a court, which is going to be then public document, private companies don't want that. They're private companies for a reason, because they don't want their public financials out to the public. And going to court and going to trial, all of that is going to be evidence. And there's nothing that any of those organizations can do to stop it. Yeah, you're a partner with NASCAR and the charter system, give us your financials.
Yep.
And, if there's any improprieties in any of those books,
it's going to be public knowledge. Yeah.
And it's not going to look good. And so, I think it's all hands on deck for the charter teams to say, we need to squash this fast.
Yeah, just get the settlement done and get back to the business of racing.
Yeah,
that's why I'm a little
tired
of bringing up updates on this on the show every week.
What's the answer? What's the solution look like? The teams aren't going to go, sorry, yeah, we'll succumb to NASCAR's will, and unless there's some financial benefit from them. And again, I don't think MJ is in a position where he's going to turn around and say, yeah, I'll take these charters for free, or whatever, however NASCAR tried to grease his palm. Do they restructure the charter system? Well, then, that then has a negative impact on all the teams that did sign up. So it's gonna, I think they want to come to an agreement, and I think they probably know what the agreement is.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to work out how not to screw somebody over here.
Yeah. It's got to be fair for all the teams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just because 2311 and Front Row were the ones that had the big enough balls to stand up and say, we're not doing this, doesn't, and the other team owners are very justified in what they said, because they're not bottomless pits like the Jordan brand is, compared to as Richard Childress said. I mean, I don't agree much with what he says, but he does say this, I had to sign it, I've got staff to pay, and sponsors obligations to meet. Jordan could run his cars with Nike Jordan branding on for 36 races, and he's even said right now, he said to his staff, your salaries are covered through to the end of 2026, no matter what happens with this case.
Deal, yeah.
So he's got 18 months of money in reserve to cover that. Other teams don't have that. They're reliant on, this is their lifeblood. So it's going to be interesting to see how everybody else can be appeased, for want of a better word.
Yep.
All right. So moving on, we were at the Roval.
Yeah.
Lee, Jess, did either of you get a chance to watch the Roval? I know I didn't. It's one of my favorite tracks on the calendar, actually, but I was really tied up this weekend.
Yeah, I did not get a chance to see it.
I saw some highlights. It looked like it was, well, at least the last 1,000 feet looked like it was a scene right out of Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the Roval, but it had a fantastic ending, I thought. It was everything a Talladega Nights movie should be, just on a Roval NASCAR track. So, yeah, lots of drama. You know, Ross Chastain coming in hot in reverse was
that was
quite
worth
the
the
sight
price
to
of
see.
admission right there. Yeah.
Yep. And you know, Denny Hamlin was right behind him, or right in front of him, or whichever way you want to point the car. They were nose to tail, tail to nose doing it. And yeah, I thought, you know, it was comical, but it was still, I mean, it was a great race. It was very dramatic. It was very good at the end. So
right. And our winner, Sean Van Gisbergen, who has, you know,
Sean, is that his brother? Did his brother race? Maybe his brother's better than everybody else as well.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Scott.
Did I say Sean?
Yeah.
Sean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're all
Close enough.
average white guy names. You know, they're easy to mix up.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. But,
no, SVG.
Yeah, SVG. There we go. I was
trying to say his name. So Frank just said SVG. You can't ever get it right. But I've got the Van Gisbergen down now.
Yeah.
Guess I just can't figure out the Shane part. So.
I was lucky enough. I was actually at the race, and when you watch him in real life, it sounds silly, I know, but rather than on TV, you can really see where he is so much better than everybody else on a road course. You know, if you've got a 25 or 20 lap run, 25 lap run, whatever the window was, for the first 5 laps, he was on average pace with everybody else. Then everybody else tires hits the cliff and drop off like a second a lap, and he just carries on at the same speed. And he can manage his tires so much better than anybody else. And there's a reason for that. And I noticed this where I was sat. I can't remember what turn number it is, like turn 7, I think it was. We were perfectly in line with the exit of turn 7. And you could see he gets the car pointing straight so much faster than anybody else. And he just drives it in a straight line. Everybody else is like sliding the thing through the corner, back end stepping out. It looks great, but it's just, and it may be quicker on one lap, but it just, as soon as you start putting lateral load through those tires, they overheat because you're creating friction, and they blister, and you lose grip, you know, within that 5 lap window. And that's exactly what you see every week. So his ability is purely on tire saving. I don't think he brakes later than anybody else. I don't think he has any magical ability. It's like Scott Dixon. You know, how many times you watch Scott Dixon lift and coast and go quicker in an IndyCar race? It's just like that. He has this ability to manage his tires from the second. You know what would be really interesting?
Tires and his fuel.
Yeah. But it'd be fascinating to watch when he exits pit road. When they drop the car off the jack, does he spin his tires as much as anybody else? Because I bet you he doesn't. Because we've done studies in this, and the way those idiots spin those tires up, it may get you a 1/10 or 2/10 of a second exiting the pit box, but it costs you 2 laps of tire life or whatever because you shred the rear tires. You know, I bet you he's purely concentrated on tire conservation, and unfortunately they don't really get that over on TV. But watching it, you know, in the flesh, it very impressive, very, very, very impressive.
Now, if you could just get the ovals down,
he's getting better.
He's getting better. Yeah, I mean, he's in a couple of years. He's going to be tough to touch.
I think somewhere like Martinsville, you know, he was running reasonably well at Loudon, I think. You know, some of the more flat tracks, I think, you know, obviously because of the way the car behaves. But you know, he'll get it, I think. We are, you know, and I think when he starts to level up that playing field, I think, a lot of the critics will stop, because it is difficult. It with the format we've got on the chase and the playoff format and the winning you're in format, it does make it difficult, because at the moment he's not going to win a championship, but he's potentially, you could argue, taking spots away from people that can.
But he's
and while we're
5 race wins on the season.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you know what
but
I mean?
Also, but if you take away what's his average position outside of those 5 races,
well, yeah, that's
it wouldn't put him in the top 20, 25. So you're probably not in the top 25. So it's difficult. But I know we would to keep on NASCAR quickly, because there's been some news come out today that NASCAR have admitted that they're looking at changing the playoff structure, but there'll be no decision made until the end of the year. They've also said that they'll be increasing the horsepower at short tracks.
Yep, 6
from
races.
670 to 750, I think it is.
Yep, 750.
And from my perspective, one of the nice things that they've also said they're going to discuss is having more team parts on the Gen 7 car. At the moment, pretty much everything on that car is stock.
It's spec.
The only thing that is customizable by the teams are like driver comfort aids, like his water bottle holder and crap like that.
Yeah.
So, if they start to go down the route of being able to develop some suspension components, which they always used to be able to do, it's just NASCAR has to have the ability to police it. And they're better with Hawkeye and some of the new measuring systems, some of the old shenanigans that used to go on. But I think this new car is a little bit easier to police. And yeah, if they do open it up to the teams to help develop, then I think that's a good thing. And as long as they pitch it the right way to the fans and they engage fans with it, I think NASCAR does a very poor job of engaging technology that's in the sport with the fans. I mean, some of the stuff that we do would blow people away, but we never see it. NASCAR never talk about it, and I think that's a shame.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, so let's talk about, even though it might be going away soon, talk about the playoff standings, okay? So this was an elimination round, and the drivers that were eliminated were Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, and our friend Austin Cindric. So, so that's all of 2311 out.
Yeah, I think obviously, given what Tyler Reddick's going through, and in his family, his young son, who's I think less than a year old, has been diagnosed with a tumor in his chest, which is horrific. But thankfully, by sounds of things, he's getting the treatment he needs. But it's obviously been very difficult for Tyler these last few weeks going through all of that. And I know there wasn't a show last week and we didn't touch on it, but the ending of the race at Kansas certainly had an impact on Bubba's performance in the playoffs and his opportunities to advance there through that round. 2311 didn't have the best round of 12, and we saw it with 2 eliminations, especially when you consider that Tyler Reddick was in the championship 4 last year. Disappointing week. 3 weeks for them, but sometimes there's bigger picture in play.
Yeah, well, Chastain almost snuck in and kicked Joe Logano out, but
there was talk of did Denny do the right thing in letting Logano through and knocking Chastain out? Would Denny have been better off with Chastain in the round of 8 rather than Logano? Certainly, Logano is one of those drivers that can
he doesn't
sneak
have
up on
3
you.
cups for no reason.
No, minimum effort, maximum reward from those guys. So maybe, in hindsight, Denny, could have and should have played the team, played the long game there. And but we know that's not in Denny's nature. So
what? Where would you ever think of something like that, Mr. Richard? That is just preposterous.
Yeah.
All right.
When
let's talk about who's in the 8 drivers that are in. Starting with the top seed is the aforementioned Denny Hamlin, followed by Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, and then Joey Logano on the cut line. Well, no, the cut line will be 4.
Yep.
Joey Logano at the bottom, but one win puts him into the string of 4, and we know Penske is more than capable of winning races during the playoffs. I mean, they're 3-time consecutive champions in this format. So, even though they lost Cedric out of this one. So,
Mhm.
all right, so we're off to I think Las Vegas next.
Indeed.
So, Jessica, who do you like for Las Vegas?
Oh, let's go with William Byron.
William Byron, okay. Lee?
Oh, Chris Bell.
Thank you.
Christopher Bell, okay. All right, Richard?
I mean, I any of the three JGR guys, I think, you got to put my money where my mouth is on those guys.
All right, how about we give you Chase Briscoe then?
Yeah, Chase is,
because I like Chase. He's a good dude.
Like, listen, this guy was
trending.
With Stuart Haas last year. He was. I mean, he hung up. Everybody had written him off. Hey, hang up your fire suit. You're you're coming off of a closing team, and he gets that win at the last minute. And here he is this year, new team. Nobody's even talking about the guy, and here he is. He's in the chase.
Yeah,
he's one of the top 8, and legitimately, he's the. In my opinion, he's the dark horse.
He's a dark horse. He certainly is.
I think he he has the most polls on the year. I think.
Yep. He's like, this movie's made absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best movie he's made of his life.
Yeah.
Team wise. So yeah.
There's a couple of drivers out there that for a number of years, we've we as Toyota, but no, we've always looked at as being guys that probably are better than their car. And I'd say that Chase Briscoe was one of them.
Absolutely.
And the other one that I rate really highly that has never really had the car to perform on a consistent basis is Chris Buescher. I think he's another guy that, if he was ever given an opportunity, not that the RFK car is bad, but it's not a top car. If he was ever given the opportunity in a top car, he would be a real threat, I think, for race wins on a regular basis.
Yeah, totally agree. Buescher is another. Is just an incredible dark horse. He's such a great driver. Almost natural technical talent with Briscoe, but just the RFK car, just whatever, Roush Fenway Racing, whatever they are.
Yeah, they tend to rise to the top on the larger ovals and super speedways, but the rest of the season they're kind of just mid-pack.
Yep.
So all right, I'm gonna go with Ryan Blaney for Vegas.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That 12 team can just hook it up when they need to. They've got a horrible knack. And we talked about it on this show, before, if there's 10 things that you need to do to win a race, the top guys like the JGRs and the Hendricks and to a certain extent the Penske's, they'll get 6 or 7 of those things right every week.
Yeah.
You always get the feeling that 12 car is always just a little step ahead of everybody else.
Yep.
In terms of their preparation. So yeah, they're a dark horse, those guys are.
All right. So Lee,
Sir.
NHRA Texas Fall
Nationals
coming up this weekend, huh? What should we be looking for in the Texas Fall Nationals?
Well, we're just about 3 races out. We're race 17 of 20, so we're getting close to our championships. We've just got a couple to go with a we call it the Showcase of Speed. It's going to be at Georgia, between Texas and Vegas, and it's no points, but it's just an introduction to the racetrack, because next year we're going to be visiting them 4th race of the season. So top fuel wise, Doug Coletta is pretty much walking away with his championship this year. He's got an 86-point advantage over his closest rival in Justin Ashley. Funny car, Austin Prock is 20 ahead of show favorite Matt Hagan. Pro Stock is looking at Dallas Green. He's got a 25-point advantage over Greg Anderson. And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Richard Gadsden has a 29-point advantage over Gage Herrera. So, looking at Texas this weekend. Then we're off to that Showcase of Speed in Georgia, followed by Vegas the last week of October, first week of November. And then we're off for 2 weeks between Vegas and the finale. That will be the 13th through the 16th in Pomona, California. So we're wrapping it up. It's been a long season, ups and downs, but I think everything's starting to shake out, so to say. And this year, again, it'll be kind of a farewell for Brittany Force. And I think John Force will be hanging up his suit at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll eventually make that announcement. Or
I think that's
or he'll just keep the rest of us hanging the rest of our lives.
Which I wouldn't put it past him. So, but yeah, like I said, we're Brittany's stepping aside to start her family, and I think John is gonna, come to the awards ceremony. It's gonna be a farewell for both of them. I think John will hang up his suit that night as well. So,
and of course, it's gonna be a farewell for Toyota.
Yeah, Toyota.
Yeah,
and that again, I've said that it's pretty sad to see.
Yeah.
Toyota's always been the top fan interaction, fan interface at any of the tracks that we go to on the circuit. Toyota's front and center with branded merchandise from the second you hit the ticket window to the second you leave out of the parking lot. It's Toyota, 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 Toyota. And what manufacturer is going to step up and take that? I don't know.
Daewoo.
Daewoo. Well, Dodge just announced today that they're gonna step up some of their promotional stuff at Texas and Vegas. I don't think they've got the pockets for what Toyota does, but yeah, we'll see.
Shame.
All right, so let's move on to INDYCAR, where we're still very much in the off season, but where all the off season testing has started. There's our tests aplenty. Keep in mind the INDYCAR rule that if you're testing young talent, someone that's not been in the INDYCAR series, you can get extra test days. So there are some teams that are testing young talent. Other teams are testing their regular drivers, using up their test days. Today, as a matter of fact, David Malukas took his first laps in Will Power's old ride.
I think that was yesterday.
Or yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, time flies. But yeah, it was this week. So
yeah.
I didn't see any times from that, Jess. Did you?
I did not see any times, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm a little ticked that I did not realize until after the fact that it was at Gateway. They were here in St. Louis. I did not realize that. Obviously these tests are not open to the public, but Gateway has a public go-kart track on the infield. And
yeah, you know how to sneak in.
They have a tendency to leave the go-kart track open even when there's testing happening on the oval.
I know.
So
I remember when I was testing there, some random turned up.
Yeah, sure did.
Hey, have you seen Richard Uden? Where's Richard Uden now? Richard Uden, where are you?
Yeah, so
yeah,
Lucas's reactions were rather humble. He's like the guy that won the lottery can't believe this has happened to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the kid in the candy store, right?
What's he going to say in reality?
And first of all, he's 24, which is just, it's crazy that he's, stepped into what is really sort of like the ride of his dreams, right? Like this
ride of every
goal.
every IndyCar driver, everyone wants to drive a Penske, just like everyone wants to drive a Ferrari in Formula One.
Yeah,
everyone wants to drive a McLaren, unless you're Alex Palou.
He's just I don't know. For me, Malukas is just such a likable guy that it's hard to root against him. I'm not gonna have any problem rooting against him, but that's where you and I disagree.
Bit like Connor Daly, really.
Okay, well, that just wasn't even called for.
yeah, Richard.
Anyway, by all accounts, that test went well. Kyle Kirkwood was also on hand for Andretti. But yeah, I agree. I did not see any actual times from that test.
Yeah, I don't think they released any.
They don't.
I think it was more
usually.
Getting used to how he communicates with the team and the engineers and to get to know you. Yeah. And I really don't think they published any of the times.
Yeah.
But it was just, kind of your introduction to Penske. Here's your Here's your new ride.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking forward to seeing Will Power's first test with Andretti. You know.
Yeah.
So on Monday, there's a test at the Indianapolis road course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll feature Mick Schumacher, you know, son of the 7-time Formula One champion Michael Schumacher, who Mick himself, the ex-Formula One driver, drove for Haas for a while. So he's going to get his first laps in IndyCar with the Rail Letterman team. Kyle Collette will be with AJ Foyt. He's already run one test with them, and he was fastest in that test.
Second fastest. Felipe Nasser.
He was fastest right up till right at the end. Yeah. Felipe Nasser.
Yep.
Who ordinarily does these tests for Penske's, although they've never considered putting him in the Penske IndyCar, and I don't know why, but he leads their sports car program.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, I did want to talk
Nasser
about.
Would be good full time in IndyCar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I don't believe he's ever tested in an IndyCar before. I don't recall.
Nasser, he sure has. Yeah, last 2 years.
He has. Oh, okay.
Sorry. Just
every fall.
To go off a bit of a tangent here, opportunities could open up for him because Porsche, who Penske run their wet car, have announced that they're pulling out of WEC and IMSA at the end of the year. So guys like Felipe Nasser could have a bit more free time on their hands next year.
Yeah. So
I
might find him in an IndyCar. Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that.
If he doesn't get
well,
out.
If he's a Penske guy, right, and that other AJ Foyt seat isn't taken,
right?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So also, Dennis Hauger is going to get his first test with. His second test with Dale Coyne.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Rasmussen and Rossi will be there as well, and
Lockie
Hughes from Andretti Global. Will be driving the Junkos Hollinger car.
No. Lockie Hughes will be driving an Andretti.
Okay, all right. This is written funny.
Yeah, driving
Junkos Hollinger completes the list with Jamie Rowe.
James Rowe, yeah.
James Rowe, and he's driving Connor's car.
He sure is.
So is the other Junkos car spoken for next year, or they're both up in the air?
Stingray Rob is apparently confirmed through 2026.
Okay.
Sure that has all to do with money.
All to do with money.
Is fine. I think it's interesting this text the test next week. Really Indy Next drivers, right? Making a really good showing. And hopefully they are able to perform well at that test. Dennis Hauger obviously has already been signed with Coyne and announced with Coyne. Collette is rumored for the Foyt seat, that this will now be his second official test for them.
Yeah, I think that kid's got some real talent.
Absolutely, yeah. Then throw Rasmussen and Rossi in the mix for ECR, and it should be quite a show. But yeah, Mick Schumacher, I don't know. This is kind of blowing my mind.
I don't know if he'll end up in IndyCar or not. He seems to be pretty hip on the idea, but first we got to see how he tests. And it's not been announced that DeFrancesco is out,
right?
Because DeFrancesco still has that magical component they call money.
He does.
He just doesn't have that magical component called talent.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a rumor floating around that there may be a performance clause in Devlin DeFran's contract, which I can only assume
has been activated.
He did not meet.
Yeah.
So yeah, there may be an opportunity at RLL, and I don't know. I mean, I think about somebody like Mick Schumacher, right? These guys that come over from Europe, frequently, no experience on the ovals. And I know Ralph Schumacher, Mick's uncle, was quoted as saying, this is too dangerous. I don't want him doing this. These IndyCar
Ralph
drivers are
Schumacher
crazy.
needs to keep his mouth shut. Ralph Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve need to go off somewhere and stop watching racing.
But, it makes you wonder, if you do have somebody like a Mick Schumacher, does maybe the road and street courses, does that open up the possibility to do a split seat with someone like, I don't know, say Connor Daly running the ovals? Yeah. So,
oh my gosh,
it's possible it's been done before.
I've never been a fan of the split seat. The only time it was ever successful was with Ed Carpenter and Mike Conway.
Yeah.
But still, at the end of the day, neither guy has a shot at the championship.
Right. Yes.
100%. So why have a car that's got zero shot at the championship?
Yeah.
I mean, well, if you
you can argue it's sponsorship, isn't it? Because, if you're doing a race-by-race sponsorship deal and you've got driver A that's going to put you in the top 10 on ovals and driver B that's going to put you in the top 10 on road courses, then you can get more money from a sponsorship standpoint.
And speaking for a team also, like Hugo Sander, probably doesn't have a shot at the championship anyway.
No.
So
it sort of, brings in more money probably. And I think that it, as you say, if you're not a championship contender as an overall, and I think also, how does IndyCar work with prize money? Their prize money is handed out on team performance, isn't it? So if you're
entrant,
a car number rather than a driver, so if your car number is in a certain position, then you get certain money. So I think
that's how the leader circle money works. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah.
So
I just hope for Mick Schumacher's sake, Gunter Steiner isn't there on Monday. Oh boy!
Oh man! But how many guys have Ray Hall tests that have never gone to IndyCar? Who was the guy they had in development? Yuri Vips.
Well, so
that guy just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Supposedly, they still have him under contract, and I have no idea what that means. They've just got him stashed away in a closet somewhere.
I guess he just runs
frankly is fine
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. But bizarre, absolutely bizarre. I did want to mention though, last week we touched on it. There was a test at Mid-Ohio, so that was topped by Felipe Nasr, and then Colette came in second in that test. They did publish the times from this one, which is why I thought it was interesting that I have not seen times from the test yesterday. But anyway, Dennis Hauger also participated in that. Niels Coulin for Ganassi and Kaku Ota for MSR. He is primarily known for Japanese Super Formula racing and I think IMSA as well. Of note in this test, Nasr and Colette, I believe, were the only ones who did not crash their cars. So this test was a bit expensive for the teams.
Yeah, well, not crashing your car is definitely a thing that team owners enjoy.
That's that's a check. That's a check in the win column, I think.
You want a guy that can bring the car home in one piece.
Yeah.
So like I said, we'll have more and more tests over the next couple months. There's going to be a test at the Oval at Indianapolis. So they haven't released the details yet, but it's supposed to be 4 car driver combinations. No idea who it's going to be.
Yeah.
So let's look at the open seats because Rinus VK is still hanging out there, turned down a solid ride, and all of us assumed he had something lined up, but so far nothing.
I believe that Rinus VK will be in the 76 at JHR.
And Yukos, yeah. That's kind of the hot rumor after everybody decided, well, maybe he's not going to the Foyt car.
Right.
Or he's not going to Penske.
For my money, I think we're going to see VK at JHR, Colette at Foyt. And it makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit to say this, but I think we might see Grosjean.
There you go. You said it.
In the coin.
You said it.
Yeah. I think.
Do you know anybody else that could take that seat?
Well, the other coin seat? Yeah, Connor Daly.
Jeff, who else do you think could take that seat?
Well, Jacob Abel is still on the outside looking in. Linus Lundqvist.
Jacob Abel
Mario, I'm guessing
I
maybe?
hate
See
to, I
if
hate
he's
to
doing
tell
anything?
you, Jacob Abel proved to be anything but able last year.
He did.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Meanwhile,
and I like
Lundqvist-
Jacob. He's a Kentucky guy, you know.
Meanwhile, Linus
But-
Lundqvist is phenomenal and has gotten hosed 6 ways to Sunday multiple times. And, you know, he still doesn't have a ride. And, you know, any number of the other young drivers that we've just talked about who have been doing testing. So any of those folks, Richard, could take that seat at Coin, along with, yes, Connor Daly, who is as yet unemployed.
I'll behave.
But so is the plight of a Connor Daly fan every year. This seems
pretty
to
much
be,
every year. Yeah,
this is an annual tradition in this time of the season.
I think you said a Connor Daly fan. Don't you mean the Connor Daly fan?
Oh, stop it, Richard. You'd be surprised. Go to Indianapolis sometimes. See how many Daly fans there are. People love him. People love him in Indy.
Yeah.
But the other thing.
I will never forget the first time I attended the 500 was in 2021 when Elio won his 4th, and Connor took the lead during that race, and I will never forget the sound. The sound of the crowd was incredible. And I told him this. I got a chance to tell Connor this last year. I said that was the first moment that I sort of like looked around and I thought, oh my God, everybody else loves him too. Like you guys get it. You love him. I love him. So yeah.
Did he like walk away slowly and?
Well, Frank was there. It was at the.
It tells you something.
Yeah.
You know the loudest cheer I ever heard was at Indy when somebody took the lead. And this many years after it happened, it almost seems insignificant.
TK?
2005 when Danica Patrick took the lead.
Really?
Holy shit, that place exploded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it tells you.
Of course, then her career after the fact didn't.
Yeah.
Right. No.
But it tells you something about the event when you're at a motorsport event and the crowd can drown out the noise of the cars.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, really.
It is. It's amazing.
All right, so we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I did want to mention of these INDYCAR week, Prima is still up in the air.
Prima's up in the air.
The team might be for sale.
I've also heard a rumor.
All kind of rumors out there, but no driver announcements or anything. So
no, and I've also heard a rumor that RLL might be looking to sell one of their charters. So everything that we've just discussed with that seat.
Well, who could take a third car? Coin, Carpenter.
Well, I mean, think about what might happen with Prema, right? If they sell or you know, if they sell their operation.
Yeah, they don't have a charter though.
Right, they don't have a charter, but they could sell their operation, their equipment, right? And so then they have money that they could invest in another team, right? So then what if they joined forces with a JHR or a Coin, and then bring on a third
or even
car.
If somebody that's like in the INDYCAR in the NXT series now, you know, like HMD join forces with HMD and start or with Able Motorsports.
Yeah,
they're big in next as well. So
anyway,
so
it's interesting. It's interesting.
That's
interesting. Go ahead, Richard. It's interesting.
It's interesting you mentioned about the RLL thing, because I know that number of engineers have left that organization in the last few weeks. I don't know if that all relates to one individual car, if they're reshuffling or whatever, but yeah, they have had a bit of a clearing of house there.
And they did that a couple of years ago, last year, a couple of years ago as well. They had a big sort of restructure and refocusing, which has clearly not gained them anything. But yeah, I think Prema is going to be the other big domino to see what happens with that team. Apparently their two drivers are contracted, but who knows what that means.
Yeah. All right. So final thing I want to ask you guys here. Okay. So David Malukas in a Penske car. Who's the last driver to win the race in his first race as a Penske driver?
In IndyCar specifically?
INDYCAR.
Chezrony.
No.
Montoya?
Nope.
Castro Neves.
Nope.
Don't look at me for an answer because yeah, it's not going to happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Sam Hornish Jr.
Really?
He won his first race as a Penske driver. He won the race.
Interesting.
So,
be a hell of a thing for.
He was a two-time IndyCar champion when he joined Penske. You know,
right, and that's the difference, right?
Malukas has yet to win a race. So.
Yet to win a race, yet to win a pole. So yeah, I mean that. What that.
Apart from that, he's got a great chance.
Yeah, I mean, so I just don't know how he lucked into that ride. So, anyway, that brings us to the end of our show. So, quick thank you to our sponsors, Lego and Formula One, the ERA Racing, NASCAR on Fox, Sinister One Productions with PBR coverage, When the Dust Settles. Lee, you'll sponsor us, won't you?
Absolutely.
You'll talk about drafting the circuits on your bull ride thing. Also want to thank.
I thought that was going to go somewhere different. Then.
Of course, I
got to thank our fine producer Keith Hayes and Sinister One Productions. I want to thank Facebook Live, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. I want to thank you, Lee, Jessica, Richard. Most of all, I want to thank you folks that tuned in and listen to us every week. We appreciate it, and we'll see you in 1 week's time. Until then, good night.
Thanks for watching Drafting the Circuits. Make sure to follow Drafting the Circuits on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. Drafting the Circuits is a Sinister One production.